Hey, 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 everyone. Happy Wednesday. No, you're not mistaken. This is Attacking Third on a Wednesday. We're bringing you an extra special episode because the U.S. women's national team takes on Colombia in the SheBelieves Cup tomorrow. We're previewing every single aspect of it alongside Christine Cupo, Sandra Herrera, Darian Jenkins. I'm Lisa Carlin. Guys, it is finally match time. We have been waiting for this, Sandra. We got a January camp with the U.S., but no matches to preview, to recap, and now we finally have it. Are you jazzed, Sandra?
They've arrived. These are the ones we finally get games in 2025. I love games because they're the measuring stick. We get to talk all about the things that we've heard, we've reacted to press conference answers and questions and things like that. And now we get to have games to see what it all means.
The test is here, Darian. This is a test for the U.S., or is it not so much? Is it more just like, hey, we get a sense of these new players?
This is a massive test. It's kind of all of the above. I mean, these young players get to play against really tough competition. You have some veterans sprinkled in, but this is a real fresh start for the US. It's a fresh start for Emma Hayes to really have the time to implement what she's been wanting to on the US. But it's been so long since we've had a game. I feel like we should insert that meme from the Titanic where that lady's like, it's been 87 years. That's what it feels like. How have we been talking this whole offseason with no matches? It's crazy. I'm so excited to see how they show up, and I want to see our lineups because I think we're all going to have something pretty different.
It's truly a testament to how we can just talk about anything and everything because we haven't had games.
There's been nothing.
And we're still dropping A3 episodes, meaning that they're also going to ramp up even more because we are previewing and recapping every single one of the US's SheBelieves Cup matches that come up. It is the 10th year of SheBelieves Cup, and the US has won 7 times. They're looking for their record 8th win this tournament, and it is a chance for the US to get competitive matches early in the calendar year. Typically, SheBelieves Cup does not feature any UEFA competition because they have Nations League right now. They have other competitive competition, but it all kicks off tomorrow, February 20th through the 26th. It will be 6 games of the SheBelieves Cup across 3 match days and 3 cities, Houston, Glendale, and San Diego. And the U.S. will play against 7th ranked Japan, 15th ranked Australia, but it all kicks off tomorrow, Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern time against 21st FIFA ranked Colombia in Shell Energy Stadium in Houston, Texas. When we take a look at Colombia, it is the 14th meeting all time against the United States, and the U.S. are undefeated against Colombia. 11 wins, just 2 draws, and they've never lost. Plus, they've scored 41 goals, only conceding 2 against Colombia. The most recent time U.S. and Colombia played was in the quarterfinal of the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Last year, the U.S., they won 3-0 in that match. But Colombia has done a pretty good job as of late, Sandra, because when you take a look at even just the Olympics last summer in Paris, they did finish 3rd in their group, but they advanced to the quarterfinal. But when we take a look at group play, Sandra, they scored 2 against France, falling 3-2. They got a 2-0 win over New Zealand and then lost 1-0 to Canada. But in the quarterfinal, they went up against Spain 2-2, and they took it to overtime, Sandra, and then they end up losing to penalties. But we saw a different side of Colombia last summer.
Yeah, absolutely. I think something that's so special about this Colombia side is how they show us how kind of unpredictable they can be when it comes to tournament style football. And I think that's part of what makes this SheBelieves Cup tournament so exciting. It's going to be their first time participating in this sort of environment, and there's a real opportunity here, I think, for the Colombians because they're game 1 against United States. And there's something to be said about that first game of any kind of up tournament where anything can happen type of energy. And the record is going to be on the United States side of things. You write it down. The numbers are there. The history are there to if you want to hang on to that and say the US have got this in the bag, just because of the numbers that already exist. I don't disagree with that entirely. I think that they do have it, but I wouldn't say it's in the bag. And I think going up against this team first is going to be a test for both players on each side of the ball, just because of what we have seen them do, whether it was in the 2023 World Cup or most recently during this Olympic, the 2024 Olympics. So I'm eager to see if their head coach is going to shake anything up. Marcela has typically kind of run out there with a bit of a 4-3-3, and I think even that has kind of fluctuated at time where they get a little bit more direct and they go more 4-4-2. And I think within that kind of scheme, how are things going to look tactically when it comes to that midfield? And I think that is something that I'm going to be fixated on in this game for both teams here. We have seen this United States women's national team kind of come out of those international friendlies to close out 2024. At times kind of felt, we use the word bully, that they got bullied a little bit in that middle third. And this Colombian team has shown that they don't want to be the team that gets bullied around either. They're this kind of new wave of Latin American teams that are trying to flip the script on that narrative, that you could just sort of go out there against Latin American teams and just kind of be overtly physical, and then maybe you get them off the ball and you just go ahead and win. That's not the case for a lot of these teams anymore. We've seen it with Mexico, we've seen it with Colombia, and I think maybe we'll get to see that continue a little bit more in SheBelieves Cup. So who's going to start in that middle third for USA? Who's going to start in that middle third for Colombia? That's where I got my eyes on.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think for me, we know what we've seen Colombia do, right? We know that they like to especially control the pace of games, i.e. crank that pace, especially in the attack. They love to sit that high line, high press, attacking defense. They want to try to win the ball back high up the field. They're going to rely on probably Caicedo for that transitional play, which is what I think will be the most dangerous for Colombia with the U.S. And I think that they just really got to watch for that physicality. Like, Colombia are ready to scrap always. We saw it the last time, in which we saw Trinity Rodman peacekeeper, which is hilarious. But it's going to be a challenge, especially with, some of the new debutants, seeing if they make their actual debuts. Some of the newer players with fewer than 4 caps, whether they can withstand both the physicality and the pressure. And Colombia are going to be trying to take a bite out of this team because it's probably the best shot they've got in a while.
Before we get into our U.S. women's national team projected lineups, let's take a deeper look at Colombia and the 23 players that they are bringing to SheBelieves Cup under new head coach Angelo Marcilla. 23 players. Let's start with the back. We got in goal Luisa Fernando Agudelo, Natalia Giraldo, and Catherine Tapia, who will most likely be starting. Defenders, Mary Alvarez, Carolina Arias, Daniela Arias, Angela Barron with Racing Louisville. You guys might know that name. Dorcela Carabali, Daniela Caracas, Ana Maria Guzman, and Yerladi Minota. Midfielders, Sarah Martinez, Daniela Montoya, Marcelo Restrepo, Maria Camila Reyes, Lacey Santos, and Catalina Uzme. And then forwards, Wendy Bonilla, Linda Caicedo, Yvonne Chacon, Manuela Pavi, Maydra Ramirez, and Carla Torres. 23 players, Darian, that are ready to fight and go against specifically the U.S. But when you take a look at these 23 players, who you watching? Who you got your eye on?
I mean, Catalina Uzme is one of my favorite players to watch because she's so physical. She's incredibly technical, but she sets the tone for Colombia, in my opinion. I think when they are cooking and they look good in the attack, they're stopping counterattacks, it all comes from her. I think she's the heart, the driving force behind this team. I'm really looking forward to her, but I have to agree with Sandra. The midfield battle going into this match is where I think the game is going to be the most competitive. How can they shake up the US's midfield? And Colombia is very physical. They're not afraid to go into tackles. And you look at this US roster, it's very young. It's a lot of players looking to get capped, looking to get lucrative minutes in this tournament. This is the time for Colombia to go at them. I'm really excited to see what this new coach has been doing with them, with the amount of time he's had, and how they're going to implement it against a team that's the US that maybe is still working on building chemistry between these veterans, the younger players, and Emma Hayes and the style that she's trying to implement. So if I were Colombia, Catalina Uzme, the player I'm keying in on in this matchup for this tournament, I'm licking my chops going against the US. I think this is the time to hit them hard.
Colombia, when they play, they have these really smooth, silky moments when they're in their attack that they will look to break down opposition. They control the tempo really well when they're attacking, and a lot of that having to do with Catalina Uzme in the midfield, who does so much of the role playing and the playmaking for Colombia, because they'll get into their attack quickly and then slow down the game, draw out their defenders, and look to get in behind, whether it's going end line, crossing the ball in, looking to go a little bit more centrally. But they do a really good job of finding the balance and the tempo, which is going to be difficult for the U.S. to battle against, because the U.S. is so used to controlling so much of the game. But with all these young players for the United States and it not having as much rhythm and connection together, that's where Colombia is going to look to capitalize on them. Plus, when Colombia looks to defend against the U.S., I think they're going to sit back a little bit, right? Have a high press in moments, pick and choose their battles when they go against the U.S.'s back line and look to pin them in. But then as soon as that first line of attack gets broken, Colombia is going to drop back and be in a mid to low block, which the U.S. is going to have to force to undo at times, which it's not going to come easy for them because of the physicality of Colombia. And then when they do win it, they're going to look to go send forwards Linda Caicedo, Manuela Pavi, Mayra Ramirez, who is so physical in the box as well. I'm so excited for this battle and this matchup between these two sides, because they go head to head and they bring out the best in each other. Plus, it gets a little fiery at times. Let's talk the U.S. a little, because we each did our projected starting lineups. 23 players named by Emma Hayes, a lot of new players into the mix, and only 2 goalkeepers, Jane Campbell and Mandy McGlynn. Alyssa Nair has retired from the international game, so finding who is going to be the stalwart between the sticks for the U.S. is wide open. The applications are flooding in, and Emma Hayes has a lot to choose from. Darian, I want to know who you are putting in goal to start against Colombia. Take us through your projected U.S. starting 11.
Here we go, ladies. Well, who I would put between the sticks first is somebody who I think Mandy McGlynn can learn from, which is Jane Campbell. Give Jane Campbell minutes. She's coming off of an injury. She's coming off of a great year with Houston, where she had to make so many saves, more than she should have. Give her some minutes going into this camp. So Campbell between the sticks, left to right. Dunn, Davidson, Sonnet, Fox. Kind of a predictable back line. And I was toying with Sonnet starting there for a little bit, because I think Sams deserves minutes. I think she deserves time with this U.S. Women's National Team, but it is Sonnet's 200th. They're celebrating her 200th cap, I believe. 100th cap in this match, which she got against Iceland. So she'll be honored for that. And I think she's a really good, solid one to have in the back line, because she was so good for the U.S. this last year. Coffee, Heaps, and then Shaw at the 10.
Ooh.
I am so looking forward to seeing Shaw at the 10 with Macario at the 9, because the fluidity between the two of those players, they play kind of similarly. No one's really trying to run in behind. That's not their superpower going into matches. And then I have Biondolo and Thompson. And I think that those players, that offer such a different ask of what Macario and Shaw are going to do in the middle, that it's going to pull Colombia in and out of position from that back line, and then their defensive mid position. That leaves a lot of room for Lynn and Alyssa Thompson to run in behind. I like that little strategy, what that could be, seeing Macario back in, getting minutes. She's doing really well with Chelsea right now. Regardless if she gets 10 or she starts a match, she's effective. And let's get Shaw. Let's get Shaw some minutes. She's, we missed her in the Olympics. We missed her a lot last year. Let's see how she does in that 10 position.
Do you imagine that you'll see Shaw and Macario, if they line up how you want, rotating a lot? Or will it be a little bit more stagnant? Yeah.
I think that they'll both of those players naturally like to sit in those pockets in front of the back line on either side of the defensive mid of whatever the opponent they're playing against. They can turn tightly. They like to combine. They're really cheeky with their passes. They look forward and see those lanes in between the back line that they can find their teammates. I think that could be such a dangerous level of play going against a team like Colombia, and just for the U.S. going forward. That is totally different than Smith playing in the 9 position.
Especially if Shaw and Macario do sit a bit in front of Colombia's back defensive line. And then you have Bayandolo and Thompson who want to get in. They could make those diagonal runs. It could be chaos up there with the rotation.
Well,
I like this.
And thinking, I love it. And thinking Thompson's more of a, let's go 1v1. I want to slow you down. I want to slice and dice you a little bit. Lynn Biondolo's going to look to maybe exploit that gap of space. Say Macario pops off. Nobody's going to be able to keep up with her. No, there's no one, honestly, I've ever seen be able to keep up with Lynn. I like those three different layers that those three players offer. So I'm talking as if this is definite.
Yeah.
It's definitely not, but something I would love to see.
It would be fun. A little note for everyone. Lynn Williams is now Lynn Biondolo. Lindsay Horan is now Lindsay Heaps. And there's one more. Mandy
Sophia Wilson.
McGlynn and Sophia Smith, who is not on this roster, is now Sophia Wilson. So we got a couple of name changes. All right, Sandra, how different is your projected starting lineup to Darian's?
Not very, but there is a pretty key difference starting right out of the back. I ended up going, instead of Campbell in this game, I want to see McGlynn get the start against Colombia, and I've got Samson over Davidson on mine, and Neischwanger and over Dunn as well. No real changes in that middle third for me. I agree that a combination trio of Shaw, Heaps, and Coffee is the way to go in this one against Colombia. And one change or one difference in my top three from Darian's is that I'm starting Yasmin Ryan over Alyssa Thompson, but I've absolutely got Macario in that 9-round Biondolo as well alongside them. I just think when we're looking at this opposition, Colombia, again, sticking with that middle trio, who's going to maybe kind of counteract things against Colombia? Who's going to make things difficult for Catalina Uzme if she ends up getting the start there? Daniela Montoya, who we haven't really talked a lot about for Colombia, their team captain, who's also really responsible for kind of being that disruptor and able to kind of absorb that pressure and kind of work out of it and still connect those very kind of important pinpoint passes. So who is going to be that middle trio that kind of counteracts those things for Colombia? And I think it's going to be some combination of them. At this point, when we were asked for our starting 11 predictions, that middle trio, I didn't care how they lined up because I just feel like as soon as that whistle goes, there's going to be so much interchange and so much kind of movement. And I want to see it. I really want to see it. I want us to see Jaden Shaw in these moments of opportunity and really kind of pull things out. She did not have the Olympics that she was hoping for. That's obvious at this point. She's got a new change with a new team coming out of this offseason and going into preseason. And I want to see that hunger. I want to see that bite. I think she brought that to this national team in the Gold Cup. And there was something very special about watching Jaden Shaw during this time. So I'm hoping that there's some energy there that kind of mirrors what we saw a year ago that she's able to bring in this game against Colombia. So hopefully she gets the start and she's able to kind of maybe counteract things a little bit. Not so much even with that middle trio, but really alongside Catarina Macario as well, because these two players are these kind of interchangeable type of players that Emma Hayes kind of sees. She sees the vision, but we got to see it play out on the pitch. So hopefully we get to see it against Colombia.
Same midfield trio. Interesting. Shaw, Heaps, Coffee. Christine, do you vary your midfield trio?
A little bit. I feel like if Sandra's and Darian's had a baby, my lineup would be in there somewhere. So I tried to do a little bit of what is logical, what I think could actually happen, and what is aspirational in my own little circus brain. So do we have can we throw there we go. I'm like, my brain isn't that great. I'm not going to remember off the top of my head. So my midfield trio is going to be Heaps, Coffee, Albert. I feel like our back lines are all really, really similar for all the same reasons. I do think Emily Sams, she's only had 2 caps, but I think 2024 Defender of the Year, like, let's get her a start in there and see how well she continues on that path. I think Sandra also had Yasmin Ryan. I don't think there are too many deviations in what's happened with mine, maybe just some positional changes. I think we're definitely, based on what Emma said in the press, we're going to see Kat and Jaden Shaw. How will be the big question there. I do think we'll probably see something closer to what Darian has, where they sort of are a little bit more interchangeable, or like Kat can slide into like a false 9 maybe. But I think that this lineup will be able to withstand some of the pressure from Colombia. And I did also pick Yasmin Ryan for some of the intangibles. Like, she's ultra competitive, and I think we need some people out there that are going to be a little bit scrappy like that with this Colombia side.
I love
Ooh.
this lineup, Christine. You got
Shaw
thoughts, Darian?
up top.
Yeah. I see, like, the Jedi mind trick of the way that I think that sometimes players are being listed now, where it's like, oh, she's listed she's listed in the midfield, and it means absolutely
sure.
nothing.
Yeah, that's fair.
I feel like, and I was joking before we jumped on, where I was like, bro, I have a better chance at predicting the winning lottery numbers at this point than this lineup, because she's also flip-flop between 4-3-2-1, 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3 over the more recent games. And I feel like there hasn't been a more consistent lineup or even setup. And now that we're seeing new faces in potentially in the mix, I'm like, I don't know, but I think I want to see them cook. Like, I just desperately want to see Jaden Shaw and Kat and what they can actually dice up healthy.
So I have a question. Do you think that means in your lineup, say this is the lineup that's going out, do you think that Emily Fox is now going to be that outside back that's going to shift the US to go forward if Shaw's on the right? Because I'm thinking, okay, if Shaw's starting on the front line, she's going to be inside a little bit more in a pocket. And we just saw Emily Fox score a banger. So is that part of your
Yes. So in my head,
ball?
I feel like, barring now, we remove Rose from the equation, right? And I feel like Rose and Foxy worked really good together, especially up that flank. But I think that Jaden can carry that. And I feel like we know that Fox has the giddy up now, also the confidence of shooting at range. I think that could be a really dangerous right side.
I like it. Strong side, right side.
Do you think it'll be Fox? I think you had Fox and Dunn, Christine. So you think it'll be Fox, Darian?
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm just going off. Hey,
Yeah.
if this is the lineup going out,
Got it.
I would
Okay,
think with Shaw on the right. Yeah, Yasmin's more of a 1v1. She can really get in line. Yes, she can cut inside, but let's go up and down more so. Shaw's going to come inside. Foxy, go shoot. Get up into the attacking third, maybe even the middle third, and just shoot your shot, girl, because you're cooking.
Wow. Okay, guys. So Christine had a different midfield trio with Corbin Albert in there instead of Shaw because Shaw was up top. Still Jaden Shaw starting. I also have Jaden Shaw starting. Let me run you through my projected starting lineup for the U.S. Women's National Team. Jane Campbell, she's playing at her home stadium. She gets the nod in goal. Across the back line, Crystal Dunn, Tierna Davidson, Emily Sams, and Emily Fox. Right side, Emily, strong side. In the midfield, Sam Coffey, Lindsay Heaps, and then Jaden Shaw with Lynn Williams, Ali Setnor, and Lynn Biandolo up top. Guys, give Ali Setnor the start. Why the heck not? Why not? I want to see her get in behind. She deserves this call up. She deserves to get a chance to really go out there and prove her worth. I think she can be physical against a Colombian side that can box people out in the box. She can get in behind. She can check back and combine with Shaw underneath, allowing a little bit of that overlap that's not as set in stone as it would be with Macario up there, because Macario truly loves to drop in front of that back line. But with Ali Setnor, she also wants to run in behind. She'll combine really well with Yasmin Ryan and Lynn Biandolo on the outsides. I want this starting lineup. Darian, you made a really good shout about Emily Sonnet being awarded for her 100th cap during this game. So she's probably going to start in the back line. I'll give you that one for sure. I glossed over that notes, but otherwise, like, this is what I want to see. I'm putting money on it.
I like this, Carl.
All right.
Yeah, this is cool. I would love to see Ali Setnor start. Something tells me it's not likely, only because I think with it being the first game back, you have people that have a little bit more experience here to kind of set the tone of what this means. I would love to see her start a second half, get a full 45 and build. But I want to see more Setnor. I think she really can make a name for herself in the tournament. So that was a good shout. I like the change up. I wasn't expecting it.
It's a little bit of what I think will happen and what I want to happen. Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
It's like the demon inside of you that you're fighting. Like you want to see these things, but you also want to be right. Like tough.
Okay, guys. So we had similar 11s through all of this as it goes throughout. But who of players that you didn't have in your starting lineup do you want to see get time? Do you want to see get minutes, specifically in this match against Colombia? Christine, I'm going to start with you on this one. Who do you want to see?
So, I mean, if we were going real wild style and I wasn't trying to be at least a little bit right, I would have flipped Corbin and Lily. I want to see Lily this game. I want to see what she can bring to this game, especially being an active player. I don't think we've seen enough of her. But I also at the same time am tempering it with, like you're probably not going to see her start either.
That's fair.
To Lily Johannes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I really want to see Lily Johannes too, but I don't know if I want to see her against Colombia. I think I might want to see her against like Japan or something.
Japan.
Like that. You know, and so I think for like for this particular game, I mean, it's still a tournament, y'all. Like they still want to win. Like that's still going to be like number one for USA. And not that I don't think that if some of these players don't get time that they won't win. I still think they got a good shot. But against Colombia, who didn't make my starting 11, I don't think any of us have really mentioned it quite yet. I want to see Michelle Cooper, hopefully, in some capacity.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see some of that razzle dazzle on the wing by Cooper. What can she bring? And what does it look like going up against, again, a Colombia team that is really this kind of like rising profile type of team coming out of this most recent cycle? What is she going to look like, with a Colombian backline that doesn't have a Manuela Vanegas? They don't have that star center back as well, like the one that kind of holds things down. So is there an opportunity there? Is there a weakness? Is there something to expose there? And can that come from a player who comes off the bench and provides an impact? And I want to see like how Michelle Cooper does in that role. We have seen her primarily in NWSL play as a starter for Kansas City Current. And sometimes when you pivot your game from club to country, you have to make it fit in a certain kind of way. And maybe for right now, that's off the bench just to sort of see if you can be that kind of X factory type of player. So I hope that it does translate. I hope we do get to see Michelle Cooper against Colombia.
I like that. That was also the player I was saying I wanted to see. How she's able to build chemistry with whoever she's playing around. This is a big opportunity for any players like a Michelle Cooper where, hey, you can come in and make a statement. I think Emma Sears is a player we saw do that last year. Does she have chemistry with everybody yet? I don't know. We haven't seen too much of it, but when she's on the ball, she's going to be dangerous. She's going to set somebody else up to score. She's going to create goal scoring chances. I think for Michelle Cooper to come in and make an impact, same with Ali Sentnor, who's the other player I'm dying to see with the US. You need to come in and say, I'm here. I'm going to be dangerous. I'm going to be threatening. Something's going to happen when I'm on the ball, whether it's getting a corner, whether it's creating an assist opportunity or setting myself up to get a shot on frame so that people know I'm here. You should be scared and let's run it. Player I want to see get minutes though, just because let's get them into camp. Let's see how they do. Let's let them learn under Sam Coffey, under Lindsay Heaps, is Claire Hutton.
Yes.
The young NWSL star, Kansas City staple. Let's get it, girl. This is the time. I think a big thing we interviewed Blacko, and I think we asked him about Claire Hutton, and he was saying she's been so good. She learns so quickly. She adapts really well. Let's see how she can maybe not play so square. Let's get her playing more threatening balls into the attack. Well, you have a front line like this in the US and a lot of opportunity, a lot of hungry players. This is the chance to do it. So those are the three. I know we're supposed to name one, but I went off on a tangent.
That's
three
fine.
players I really want to see.
We
that
want to
wasn't
see them
planned.
all.
I'm like in the chat, like, yeah, Claire Hutton as Darian, like it was a presentation. Darian's like, Claire Hutton. And I'm like, blah, 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 yes.
How will Hutton fare against Colombia midfield? Because we talked a lot about how physical they are. Yeah.
She is made for a Colombia midfield. Claire Hutton, she's a hard hitter. She is a hard hitter. She's not going to be
good
scared.
in the air.
Imagine how much confidence that would give her too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Claire Hutton's a really good shout for this
That's
Colombia
a great
match.
one.
I like it. I know I said Ali Sentnor is going to start, I don't know if she will, but I really want to see her. I really want to see her go out and stretch her legs. I also said Emily Sams was going to start, but I really, really want to see Emily Sams play in this game in the center back. I think she is the future of the center back for the U.S. women's national team. But I want to see Emma Sears in this game. I want to see Alyssa Thompson. Frankly, when I look at this forward group of 7 players without triple espresso, who is those 3, Sophia Wilson, formerly Smith, Trinity Rodman, Mallory Swanson, are the future attackers of the U.S. They are the solidified number 1 starters. They are. But if I'm one of these 7 forwards called into this She Believes Cup camp, I am saying I want to be number 4. I want to try to be in that number 3 group of those front 3. But if not, I am going to be the first one off the bench. And now is your chance to prove that by creating a lot of chances, being really dangerous, being brave on the ball, taking chances, whether that's going 1v1 or whipping crosses into the box, picking out your targets, shooting from distance, forcing the opposition keepers to make saves, to be on their heels, making them giving a different look to the U.S. And that's what I want to see from every single one of these U.S. forwards. But whether it's Katarina Macario, Michelle Cooper, Yasmin Ryan, Allie Sentnor, Alyssa Thompson, Emma Sears, these are players that need to establish themselves at the international level. And now is their chance to do it. I'm excited to see this group go out and run against Colombia. I'm so excited for this game, guys. I have missed competitive international football. I really have. I'm excited to see what this U.S. side does. They play Colombia tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We can't end this preview episode without a little bit of prediction. Scoreline. You could throw in who's going to score a goal there. You could do a shutout. Give me whatever you want. The betting lines are wide open for you. Sandra, I'm going to start with you. Scoreline prediction for USA against Colombia.
Scoreline prediction. I'm gonna go. Let's get some goals. I want to see some goals. I'm hopeful that we get them. I don't want this to be a 0-0 draw or like a 1-0 thing, but unfortunately, those first games sometimes haunt you a little bit. So I'm gonna hope for goals. I'm gonna say 2-1 USA, and I want a Jaden Shaw goal from distance.
Ooh,
Shaw goal. Who else is scoring?
Let's say Shaw scores and Lynn. Come on, I got Lynn in the starting lineup. She's gonna come through.
Okay.
I actually had a similar prediction. I do think Colombia will put one away. They are so talented going into the attack. I like the test that can provide the U.S. I'm going to give a shout out to my girl, Catalina Usme. I think it's going to happen somehow. Set piece, whatever, run a play. I don't know. I think they're going to score. I also have Bayondolo scoring. I think Lynn's been hungry. She missed the last camp due to just having to pull out last minute for an injury, but she sets the tone in the front line. I think she puts a standard into what the work rate is. I think she deserves a goal. And the other one, I'm going to go Alyssa Thompson from my lineup.
Yes.
When we saw her play last with the U.S., I think we named her player of the match because of how effective she was going into the attack. Give her a goal.
So what was your scoreline? 3-1?
2-1.
2-1.
What was yours, Sandra? Sorry, I blacked out.
Mine was 2-1.
Okay.
2-1. 2-1 and 2-1. Christine, what are you going with?
Hit us with that 4-4, girl. Do it. Let's go. Touchdown.
No, I think more realistically, I think we're going to get a 3-1. I am not going to go as far as choosing goal scorers, but I just have a gut feeling it's not going to be a clean sheet for the U.S., but it will be 3-1. I mean, maybe Lacey Santos will step up because I think she's the only one of that Colombia side that scored 2 or more goals for them. But yeah, I'm not getting players. 3-1. That's what I'm going.
Fine. That's fine. That's all you got to do. We will bring these receipts to the recap episode. Guys, the number 1 goalkeeper spot is on the line. No matter who's in goal, Jane Campbell, Mandy McGlynn, they are not letting anything in. It is going to be a 3-0 shutout for the United.
Wow, the disrespect on Colombia is crazy right now.
It's not disrespect on Colombia. It is the fact that there is a starting spot on the line for a goalkeeper, and you are going to do everything you can. Jane Campbell is at home home, playing at Shell Energy Stadium in front of her home crowd with a chance to be the U.S.'s #1 starting goalkeeper. We've seen Jean Campbell stand on her head for years in the NWSL. What makes you think she's not going to do it against this Colombian side? I'm not
Incredible.
saying that they're not going to get good shots off and it's going to be an entertaining attacking battle, but the U.S. is going to get a shutout. It
Wow.
all lies in Jane Campbell's hands, and she's not letting anything past her. My goal scorers, I'm going to do them. I'm going all
Okay.
in today,
Alex and her
guys.
hat trick. I can't believe it. Wow, that's crazy.
That would be amazing. Let's go. No, that's not happening. Lindsay Heaps, she is in form right now. She
really
is going to
is.
get one. She finds herself in the box. She's a physical presence. She's the leader of this team, and she's going to have to do a lot of work as the captain and the leader. She's going to get a goal. Lynn Biondolo, also hungry to get one. Darian, I'm with you on that one. She missed the last camp. She wants in on this. So I'm going a forward goal, a midfield goal. Guys, Jaden Shaw, no matter where she plays on the pitch.
I thought you were going to say defender. I was like, is
Same.
Emily Fox scoring?
Yeah.
Guys, I'm unpredictable. I'm not that unpredictable. Come on now. That's it. 3-0. I'm going with it. You guys were both 2-1, Sandra and Darian. So we'll see. We will be bringing the receipts tomorrow night around 10 p.m. Set your alarms. Join
Coming
back
out, yeah.
in to Attacking Third on YouTube because we are going live immediately following USA against Colombia in the She Believes Cup to recap all of it. If you're listening as a podcast, guys, thank you so much for hanging with us. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen. Leave us a rating and review and let us know if you like these previews, the recaps. It's a different vibe for us today on a Wednesday, but we got games. Finally, the U.S. women's national team taking on Colombia in the She Believes Cup tomorrow night, Thursday, February 20th, 7 p.m. Eastern kickoff. And join us live for a recap right after. Thanks for hanging with us. For Christine, Sandra, Darian, and Mark, I'm Lisa. This was Attacking Third.